Anyway, my name is Jamie Stark. I'm a program manager in the engineering organization for Microsoft Teams. Thank you all so much for coming out. This is the third of 5 sessions that talk about voice here at Ignite. This one is going to be focused on the management of your Microsoft voice environment. So while I throw the agenda up there, just a quick kind of point of personal privilege. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I had the opportunity prior to my role in engineering to look after voice interoperability and networking in the marketing organization, and have had the opportunity to follow the kind of core nuggets of this product as they started off in Office Communication Server, and then went into Link, and then went into Skype for Business, and then we threw the damn thing into the cloud. And so it's been a fun ride. And so now I get the opportunity to kind of experience the magic of software from the factory floor, as it were. And software is really cool. Software is, I think of it like art. I think of software as like this kind of pure expression of human thought, that you just think of something and you describe it to someone, and then poof, it becomes a thing that's real. And you can literally make anything, provided you have, no constraints on budget and no dependencies. Which is, that's super exciting, right? But, of course, we always have constraints on budget, and we have timelines, and we have some dependencies. And one of the dependencies that we have in this world of voice is the thing that we call the public switch phone network. For those of you that have been here and that are super familiar with voice, the other stuff is stuff that you already know. I'm including this in this slide should folks be looking at this session asynchronously from the recording. Hi, recording people. Great to have you here as well, some period of time after Ignite. And one of the fun things about the public switch phone network is that, this is the thing that we have to integrate with using our very modern software and our very modern coding techniques and everything else. And the public switch phone network is pretty awesome because it is reliable. You pretty much can count on the fact that it's going to be routing your calls, it's everywhere, it's ubiquitous, and it's deeply integrated into our lives, right? Like, there are phones in elevators, and there are phones in the garage, and there's phones kind of all over the place, especially now with wireless that are connected up to this network, yet at the same time, it has been around. The PSTN is old, and the PSTN, I call it feature complete because, if you think about it, just kind of walking around your house, you probably have, 20 or 30 devices that can make video calls or that can do messages. Heck, my thermostat sends me emails. But my home phone? No, my home phone does none of those things. And so today I kind of think of this as kind of a feature incompleteness. And regulation is fun. Regulation is different everywhere. Nikolai mentioned this earlier with respect to dynamic emergency calling capabilities, that in some cities you need to be able to resolve the location of a user down to a certain radius, but in other cities that's different. And oh yeah, there may be a county rule, and oh yeah, there may be a state rule. And all of this stuff we kind of have to prosecute from within our product. And so there's going to be things that are a little funky, and this is one of the reasons why. What I'm going to do to start off with is talk about the kind of core telephone number management scenarios with Teams, and kind of what we've done to integrate those capabilities into the Teams admin center, into the core facility that IT pros use to do operation, administration, and management of their Teams environment within Office 365. And so the kind of first kind of key piece of this is allowing IT pros to be able to port their phone numbers into Office 365, to be able to search for and acquire phone numbers that come from Microsoft's store of phone numbers that we keep internally, and then be able to assign those phone numbers as well down into end users. And of course, with respect to direct routing facility as well, if you have phone numbers that you're plumbing in to Office 365 using direct routing, having the ability to assign those. Those numbers can be assigned to users, they can be assigned to resource accounts. We think about those two pieces from a voice perspective, but of course, we also have the facility in meetings and audio conferencing to be able to have those numbers be assigned into conference bridges as well. You have the ability to manage locations for emergency calling. So anytime you assign a phone number to a person, you also need to assign them an emergency location as well. So that way, should they need to dial emergency services, the emergency services are going to end up in the right place. And now that we've integrated this into Teams Admin Center, we actually have done a bunch of infrastructure work in the back end as well. And now you get a full kind of view of your order histories in addition to the kind of core verbs and the core actions for being able to deal with numbers. So that's super exciting. So we're pretty stoked about this. One of the things that is literally brand new that was released last week in support of our business voice capabilities was the ability to be able to port phone numbers from your existing carrier into Office 365. Fundamentally, in the background, you should know that there's two processes that we use for porting phone numbers. One of those is an automated system. So being able to have APIs that we use with our carrier partners to be able to automate the whole thing end to end. That's super exciting. We only today support that in the US and only for some certain scenarios. So most US-based phone numbers we can handle with an automated porting. There are some regions though that we find that those carrier connections aren't there for an automated porting experience. For those cases and for international, we have a service desk. The service desk is staffed with humans. They understand all the eccentricities of the porting process, and they work on your behalf to move your numbers from your existing carrier over to Office 365. And so in the past, this has been an asymmetric experience. Within the old admin center, you would have the ability to do some ports, but then if they failed, we would say, oh, actually, you need to go and download a form and fill it out and send it to us, and maybe we'll get back to you in a little while, and maybe it'll be a little while later. And it's kind of a yucky process. Now, what we'd have is an ability for all of that ingestion of information necessary for porting to be done within the admin center, and then we decide in the back end by analyzing your port whether that goes to the service desk or whether that goes to the automated process. And what's cool about that is more and more ports are going to be stood up using that automated process over time. But today, everything you do in porting is actually going to transit through the service desk. Because today, we're generally available for ports in the UK and Canada as of last week, and we expect to be able to turn this up in the US in Q1 as well. So I kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier, the old way to do ports with the service desk. Again, cases where the porting is happening outside the US, cases where you have really big complicated ports, you want to do a port that crosses carrier boundaries, you want to do a port that crosses geographic boundaries, you would download the form and fill it out and sign it and scan it and email it back to Microsoft. Is kind of a pain. Now we have a form that exists within Teams Admin Center. The whole point of that is to generate a thing called a letter of authorization, or an LOA. And that LOA is the legal entity, it's the legal thing that gives us the right to be able to advocate on your behalf with the losing carrier. Paul mentioned this earlier, right? Like porting means losing from a carrier's perspective. And so this is our authority to be able to advocate on your behalf instead of you having to go through the pain and the suffering of having to talk with carriers, because that's kind of annoying. And so, yay. Let's see what we can see. Of course my laptop locks. That's great. I know, right? All right. So I'm going to log into Teams Admin Center. So one of the things to note about Teams Admin Center is that the experience that you're going to see here is going to be a little bit different than what you may find on your own tenant in your own environment. We have the ability to flight or to turn on or turn off any individual feature within the Admin Center. So there's going to be stuff in here that's new, that's not released. because this is kind of a demo tenant that we're using to show off goofy things. So everyone can take a picture of the release notes thing and know like, oh, hey, we're going to have release notes in Teams Admin Center in a little bit. We're here to talk about voice. So I'm going to go into the left nav for voice. And the first thing that you're going to see is all the phone numbers. So these are all the phone numbers that have been assigned into my tenant. And then I can determine with this status view right here whether or not these phone numbers have been assigned either to a user or to some service, to a resource account that will be used for a voice app like auto attendant call queues. And we'll talk about those. We'll talk about those in a little bit. So if I want to add some new phone numbers into my tenant, this is the brand fun new experience that we're super excited about, and I'm just going to put some junk up at the top. Whole lot of countries here on this list because, like I said before, in addition to the countries that we support for calling plans, this is also the interface you would use to get new conferencing numbers as well. So if you wanted to get a new conferencing number in South Africa where we don't have calling plans, you could use this interface to do that as well. Here we're going to do this in the US. And what I'm going to do here is just pause on the different types of numbers that you can acquire. So we're being pretty explicit here with respect to what are the different types of numbers that you can come in for. And we're trying to be explanatory as well, like what are these numbers actually being used for? Are you using it for a call queue? That's a toll-free number, or are you using it for an auto attendant? That would be a toll number, for example. The actual difference in this case between a toll number for a call queue and a toll number for an auto attendant, we're not getting into in like there's no real difference from the way that number is actually provisioned. But we do wanted to get some stats on kind of where people are thinking that they're using these numbers. When this gets provisioned, it'll still show up as a service number, and you can still assign it to a resource account as you need. So let's go for user numbers. And then this is kind of the cool thing, is that no longer are we saying, hey, based on your state, in the case of the US, or based on a region, in the case of some other countries, here's a list of all the different area codes you could pick from. Now we're just basing it based on your location. So I've got this location in San Francisco already configured, super straightforward to be able to do. I'm going to select that, and then now based on the location, we're doing a query to the back end to determine what are the available area codes in that location. Shocking, in San Francisco, I'm unable to get a 415 area code. That happens to be a very popular area code, but they've overlaid it with 628. So we can go and we can grab some of those numbers. Let's do a query of 5, because I don't think I have 50 licenses in this tenant. And now what we're doing is we're going out to our phone number management back end, and we're saying, all right, you said you've got some numbers in this area code available. I want to take those numbers, I want to put a little asterisk on them and say that now these are kind of earmarked for this tenant. And then after they're earmarked for the tenant, we're sure there's no race conditions or anything else goofy going on. Someone else isn't also trying to jump in and grab these same phone numbers in San Francisco. Once we have that all figured out, then we're going to go and display up on the screen what the actual phone numbers are. And generally, when I've talked this much to describe this process, that actually exceeds the amount of time necessary for the query. And I was probably just a couple seconds off that it came up. So now you can see the guts of my order here. So in the US, I'm getting subscriber numbers in 628 for my San Francisco office. I got 5 of them. Here are the numbers that are being offered to me. I either am good with this, and I'm going to go ahead and place the order and get these numbers, or I want to try some different ones, and I'll go through and hit back and then try to get another set. Just like concert tickets, these are earmarked for your tenant, so nobody else can get them for the next 9 minutes and 20, probably 18 seconds by this point. It's 10 seconds. And if I don't go ahead and fulfill this order, then these numbers will disappear and they'll go back into the pool and other tenants can grab them. I'm not going to grab them now because this is a demo tenant, and I don't want to have these numbers be in demo limbo for the next however long it takes for us to recycle this tenant. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of that. Should that order have succeeded, it would have come up here in my orders list. Fun that we see the one that I had just made there that wasn't fulfilled. That will be dropping off of this probably in the next refresh of this API call. Eventually, what we're going to also allow is the ability to drill into the specifics of the order from this view. We don't have that quite built out yet. But ultimately, we want to be able to have this order history table be kind of a canonical record of all the phone numbers that you've acquired into your tenant through Teams Admin Center. Super important note, if you're acquiring phone numbers in the Link Admin Center, in the old thing, what we officially call the Skype for Business Admin Center, they won't show up in here because they're using a whole different API to be able to do that. The numbers will still exist and they'll still work, and that's all good. But use Teams Admin Center so that way you've got a nice view of what's going on. For porting, as we have alluded to more than once in the sessions here, is a fairly sophisticated process. There's some stuff you've got to pay attention to prior to doing porting. So we put that right up front. Okay, let's be real. Let's start. You know, if you want to do this, it's all good. We're ready, but you need to be ready as well. And so here's some of those piece parts that you need to be aware of before you start off your porting process. Everything for porting is really based off of the type of the country that you're doing your porting in, and then what type of numbers you're going to be porting. And so in this case, I'm going to be porting user number, geographic numbers in Canada, and then based on that, I'm going to get a unique set of information to fill out to be able to do this form. Right, and I'm not going to fill out this form because it's huge and it's a pain. But if I was doing numbers in the UK, for example, then I would have a different set of information to fill out. If I was doing numbers in the US, I would have a different set of information to fill out as well. But ultimately, that shows up as a port request that looks like this. And so at this point, you filled out all the information, and what's ready for you is your letter of authorization. That because of inconsistent regulation means that you actually have to sign it physically. It can't be digitally signed. You can't put a smiley face on it. You can't upload an MP3 to this. It actually has to be the LOA that's been generated that you physically sign by the person who's authorized to do that. Because again, this is Microsoft's legal authorization to be able to act on your behalf for doing your number porting. But once I've done that, got it signed, got it downloaded, printed, signed, scanned, and then uploaded back in here, then the porting desk can take it from that point. Then you'll get notified what your firm order commit date is, and then from that point you can start doing the planning for your ports. Just from a project perspective, don't do one giant port to start off with. From a project perspective, take a handful of folks, handful of numbers, test it out, because likely something goofy will happen, like the address that the phone company has doesn't have drive in your address capitalized, but you typed it in capitalized. A bunch of stuff like that we catch at the porting desk, but frequently that's a great way for a carrier to kick your port out of the system and to have it be rejected. So you always want to have that opportunity to kind of test those to test that process and to be able to make sure that that process is going to be clean. So that's acquiring phone numbers into your environment, and then from there you can assign those phone numbers to users or kicking off the porting flow. Two things that are net new in Teams Admin Center from the last time that we had the opportunity to talk here at Ignite. We're super excited about. Nikolai touched on the direct routing dashboard, so I'm not going to go into excruciating detail into it, but he did call me out in his session, should you have missed that, which is great. It's all good stuff. And so the direct routing dashboard we've had out now for a little while basically enumerates all the different SBCs you have in your tenant and the way that those SBCs are configured and what actual usage is happening. What we don't have in the admin center, though, is the ability to do the configuration of direct routing. So today, if you want to go and set up a direct routing config, that is a handful of PowerShell. If you like PowerShell, it's a handful. If you are not so facile with PowerShell, oh my goodness, there's a bunch you've got to do. And it's fairly sophisticated work, so we want to put an experience into Teams Admin Center that allows people to use that same kind of dashboard view to be able to create new SBCs. This is something that we are actively working on right now. We expect that to come to fruition in the first quarter of calendar 2020. And so this is what we intend it to look like. Key note there on the bottom right, this is not the product. If it was the product, I would show it to you. But this is our design specification that kind of details the way that folks are going to be kind of going through the experience. So it's going to start off with the kind of view of the direct routing kind of dashboard that shows you all the summary of all the things that are going on with the SBC. If I go to create a new SBC, then I'm going to get the form that I need to fill out that has all the different configuration for the SBC. And like SBCs have a whole diversity of configuration, we have similarly matched a lot of that configuration diversity within the configuration API that's needed to stand up the circuit and to stand up the trunk. So after I fill out the kind of name the SBC, fill out the core settings, all those pieces, I can choose and set my preferred codecs. I can reorder them if I want. If I'm doing location-based routing and I'm using the SBCs for doing the location-based routing work, then I have the ability to configure that as well. So after I configure all these bits, I save that off. Now my new SBC is set up and it's kind of ready to start being used within the environment. You see that the green line up at the top. In addition to configuring the SBC, of course, you also need to configure the voice routes. So you need to tell Office 365 for what domain of numbers do I care about using a particular collection of session border controllers. And so now I can go and I can add a new voice route here, and I can define that priority of the voice route. I can go through and use regex to define the dialed number pattern for that voice route. We'll actually see some work in dial plans coming up next where we've actually done a bunch of cool stuff with making regex a little bit easier. We'll likely integrate that into here as well to where you're not having to fumble around and stare at the darn screen to see where the caret or the closing parentheses you've missed. Oh, I love regex. And if I want to go in and add in the SBCs for this particular voice route, I don't have to, and then that voice route wouldn't be used for anything. Then I go and enumerate a number of SBCs, and then from there, that voice route will be used to carry traffic to that domain of SBCs. So that is work. I know I'm super excited about this. This work is, like I said, is actively going on, and we're feeling really good about being able to have that experience within Teams Admin Center, both for calling plans and for direct routing. Kind of also associated with a lot of the use cases of direct routing is the ability to have custom dial plans. Custom dial plans are essentially a collection of normalization rules that are ordered that are used to translate a user's dialing behavior into something that actually can be routed on the public switch phone network. And so this is a set of capabilities that we've had in the product for a long time, but we've never had an interface for it. We've never had an ability to be able to configure it either in the old Skype for Business Admin Center or in Teams Admin Center. Historically, this has all been done with PowerShell, where you create a new CS tenant dial plan object, and then you populate that object with a series of CS voice normalization rules that are actually define the regular expression that's used to translate the dialed number into something that can be routed. We're currently finishing the development on this, and so yeah, we should actually just check it out. So this isn't in your tenant yet, as opposed to doing search and acquire importing. Those features are available in your tenant. Dial plans is still coming out. So when I go and I click into dial plans, what you'll see is kind of in the same way that you can have multiple policy instances, you can similarly have multiple dial plan instances. So you may have a dial plan for your office in Paris and a different dial plan for your office in Madrid and a different dial plan for your office in Sydney, for example. There's a global kind of org-wide default dial plan that covers everybody that doesn't already have a custom dial plan, very similar to the way that we handle policies as well within Teams and Teams Admin Center. This is the one that I was playing around with a couple nights ago. This is my test dial plan. And so basically what we do is we kind of describe here a little bit of what it means to have a dial plan and how all that works. A set of rules that translate phone numbers into E164. And then those rules are articulated there at the bottom. And here I've got two different normalization rules in play, and then they're ordered as well. So the one with the highest precedent will be evaluated first, and if that one matches, then it goes down the line until either one of the rules matches or until nothing matches, and then it errors out. To actually create a new normalization rule, this is the part that I'm really excited about. To create a new normalization rule, I give it a name and I give it a description, and then I've got two different ways to do it, right? If I'm a normal human, then generally I'm going to use the basic setup for this, where I kind of go through, in a sense, like a little wizard and say, what types of conditions I want to have matched. Oops, come on, scroll down. There we go. What types of conditions I want to have matched. So does the number begin with a certain value? What's the length of the number that is being dialed? And then as a result of that, then what's the action that I want to have performed? Do I want to remove any numbers from the beginning, or do I want to add something, or do both? Now, if you prefer, you are of course welcome to use the advanced setting as well, where you actually get to pound in regex. Or hopefully, please use a tool. Ken Lasko is a great tool that you can use to go in and do dial plans. That's available for free online. Thank you, Ken. And you can just dump regex into this thing as well. And then once your rule is created, and no, I'm not going to do regex on stage because that would be ridiculous. I'm going to then, now that I've got a dial plan, I can go and test it out. And so let's see if I've got a 4-digit number. I can go and I can pound that in. Hey, it works. So I could see the number that I typed in, the number that I got converted to, and then actually we highlight as well the specific normalization rule that got flipped when I pounded in these digits, right? So super handy from kind of a testing perspective to validate the fact that yes, this is actually the experience that I was hoping when somebody dials. And then if I can try. Let's try my 9-digit one. Let's see if that works. Or sorry, my 5-digit one. Oh, yeah, there's my 5-digit one. That one got converted as well, and you see that one gets highlighted down there. And then just like a policy, once I'm done and I'm happy with my normalization rule, then I can go and I can take that rule and I can go and I can assign that to users. Pretty straightforward. I click on the rule, I click on manage users, and just like any other policy, I go to assign that dial plan. So dial plans will be within your tenant admin portal by the end of the year. Yeah, I know. This is stuff we've never done. This is cool. So we're certainly having fun with making sure that all of the diversity of configuration that's necessary to be able to support voice, you have the ability to do that both in PowerShell and in Teams Admin Center. That is, of course, a journey. That is something that we're always kind of constantly working away at, but I hope that the dial plan stuff is one kind of great example of progress along that road. Auto attendants and call queues, not something that we've talked extensively about here so far today, so I wanted to take a couple minutes to go through those. For those of you that aren't aware, an auto attendant allows you to handle calls that are coming in, be able to treat those calls, play prompts, ask questions, be able to have people pound back DTMF to tell where they want to go, or they could talk into the thing and have the same result. I can configure both kind of a standard call treatment and then unique call treatments based on a variety of holidays as well. So I've got a lot of configurability. There's a lot of power within the set of auto attendant functionality that we have available in the box. Most of the time, auto attendants are paired up with call queues. So that way, if someone calls into the main number and they want to get routed to, an IT help desk, or they want to get routed to a sales floor or something, you can have that call then get routed into a call queue where you have that call held and played music on hold to, and then wait until an agent who is signed into that call queue can become available. All of this is powered underneath the skins by a concept called a resource account. In reality, these are disabled user objects within Azure Active Directory. They'll show up in your user list in the Office 365 Admin Center as a disabled user. But effectively what that does is it allows us to use all of the same routing workflow and all the same kind of core routing guts within the product to be able to make things like direct routing work with these different types of apps. Resource accounts are kind of a pain in the butt. So to be perfectly frank, it is complicated. You create the resource account, you then assign it a free license from the admin center. Once it's assigned the free license, then you can go and you can assign phone numbers to it, or you can assign a direct routing phone number to it as well. What we're looking to do in the fullness of time is actually hide a lot of this complexity, and you'll see this in some of the redesign that we've done for auto attendants. And ultimately, when somebody goes just to stand up a new auto attendant, then we'll automatically provision a resource account for you, we'll automatically license it, and we'll automatically do all of those steps necessary to make your auto attendant functional. And then if you want, you can go and you can create additional resource accounts, and you can then have a little bit more flexibility in your deployment, because multiple resource accounts can point to the same application. They can point to the same auto attendant or the same call queue, which is kind of cool. So you can imagine using the same auto attendant for all of your offices, but each of them have a local phone number. So when someone dials that local phone number, they hit the same app, and then from that app, they can be routed to wherever you need within your organization. Auto attendants, again, like I said, have a ton of features. I can have unique call flows for holidays and after hours versus business hours. Menu options, so press 1 for sales, press 2 for service, press 0 to pound out to an operator. I also have the ability to dial by name or dial by extension now. And for that capability, I can scope down the directory as I need. So if you have a giant company, but this particular auto attendant is only looking after a certain subsegment of that, of your organization, then you can scope the directory down. And then you can use text-to-speech, or you can upload custom prompts to be able to drive the end user through that experience. Call queues mentioned earlier as well. End users sign in to be able to receive calls from the queue, and then I can configure multiple groups of users to be able to handle those calls. A few different forms of routing, so I can route serially, I could do a round robin, or an attendant-based call route where everyone gets the call kind of at the same time, and it's a fight to see who gets to pick it up. And then I can customize what happens should there be call overflow or call timeout activities happen as well. So let's take a look at that. So I've got an auto attendant already set up here. There you are. This is our office auto attendant. You see it has assigned 3 resource accounts. It works in English. I did not configure an operator here, nor did I configure any holiday stuff. This one's pretty straightforward. But if you've used the auto attendant capability in Teams Admin Center before, basically what we did is we kind of put you on a little bit of a death march through the wizard where there's a bunch of stuff you didn't really have to go and configure in order to have a working auto attendant. But boy, we really wanted you to know whether or not you wanted to have after hours unique configuration versus a business hours configuration. So effectively what we did is we took all of the pieces that are optional for the creation of an auto attendant. We threw all those out into an advanced settings. First, right at the top, you see that this auto attendant is configured with a given phone number. A lot of times, we find that the whole concept of the auto attendant is talking to a resource account. The resource account is a phone number. That all of that actually is a little complicated. So we just wanted to surface the phone numbers that are attached to this auto attendant straight up here at the top. If I wanted to go and configure an operator, I would have the ability to do so in here. In this case, I haven't. Support tons of different languages for our auto attendants, and then whether or not there's going to be voice commands in the auto attendant as well. In this case, the call flow is pretty straightforward. We have tomorrow's electronics available today at low prices for CT Electronics. I always like that. Tomorrow's thing today. And then, oh, hey, no, I don't want to go that far in. And then as a result of then routing the call, what do I want to do? I want to do a menus option. In this case, I'm going to dial 1. If somebody dials 1, they're going to go and hit poor Pete. If somebody dials 2, they're going to go and hit Marissa. Similarly, if I wanted to, I could add another option in here, have that go to an operator, have that go to another voice app, and then I can search for the resource account that is used to fire up that app from here. Key point, we're not, again, transferring to the app itself. We're actually transferring to the resource account that's associated with that application. So if I wanted to, I could go and I could configure that in here. And then for call queues, a little bit of a simpler experience where I've just got a single page of configuration here. In this case, this is IT support. Similarly, right at the top, we want everyone to see what are the phone numbers or resource accounts. Resource accounts and phone numbers that are configured. Key point here, you don't have to have a phone number associated with a resource account to have it work with Teams. Your internal IT or your internal HR tell us something terrible that is happening at the company whistleblower kind of line, right? You don't have to have that be publicly available with a phone number. You can have that just be available essentially as a user that could be called through Teams. And so in here, what I've got 3 different endpoints configured. One of those is assigned a Florida phone number. 2 of those are not assigned a phone number, but you could still get to this auto attendant through any of those 3 endpoints just by calling it with Teams. And then whether or not you want to have a greeting, what kind of music on hold you're going to play. Yes, we do include a default music on hold. No, you don't have to pay extra licensing for it. Microsoft's got you covered there. That comes as IP from the goodness of our hearts. And then to add agents today, you're adding groups. You're not adding individual agents. So what you'll do in this table is you'll add in the groups that then have within them humans that will be receiving these calls. In the future, probably on the border for whether or not we'll have this available by the end of the year or not, could slip into a little bit into next year. You'll be able to have a combination of groups and users from within this flow. For some smaller customers, we're only just going to have people. We're not really going to have groups set up, and so it's a little bit easier. For larger customers, we've seen the need to have cases where I just need to have a person just in case to be able to also be a part of the call agents list. And then it gets drained from the top to the bottom, and then I have the ability to go and configure where that is. And then should anything bad happen, I've got the ability to configure what it means to have an overflow. What's the total number of calls in the queue that means that the queue is going to overflow. And then should somebody be waiting too long, I've got the ability to configure that as well. and determine whether or not that call gets disconnected or that call gets redirected. And if I wanted to, of course, I could redirect that to another app. I could redirect that to another person. And so you've got, again, tons of configurability in both the facility for auto attendants and the facility for call queues. Whew. Dynamic emergency calling, yeah. This is work that is currently ongoing right now, but I wanted to give you all a quick kind of heads up on it. Nikolai talked about this a little bit earlier as well. Essentially, this is the ability to say, hey, instead of having the user's location, emergency address that we've configured when we've assigned their phone number, instead of having that go out to the public switch, to the PSAP, to the public safety access point, we want to instead have that location be derived dynamically. So that means normally I live in Lincoln Square at work, which is an office in Bellevue. If I happen to be going to Redmond, that would be a different PSAP location. Dynamic emergency calling would say, oh, you're now in a different location. So therefore, we're going to send a unique location based off of your network identifier, based off of where you exist in the network. We're going to map that to a physical address and then have that go out to public safety. There's a few pieces that need to be configured here. The first two are the ones that I have the opportunity to show. The last one we're still working on. So we've got two unique policies, one for emergency calling and another for emergency call routing, effectively defining what happens when somebody dials emergency services. Do we need to go in and have a local on-site security desk pick up the call? Or what actual digits for this particular location define emergency dialing? Because of course, emergency dialing in different countries has different numbers that kick it out. And so we'll look at that super quick. Are we showing? Yeah. Okay. Good. And so that is defined first in my network topology. What this is showing right now is just the network sites and the trusted IP. So the trusted IP is my egress from the network that defines when somebody is physically on my corporate network. And the network sites, that defines the subnets that are used. You will also be able to configure wireless access point, BSS IDs, and you'll also be able to configure switches and ports as well. And so really it's a question of how granular do you want to have this capability, or what network infrastructure you have that you want to use to be able to base a user's location off of. And we'll support all three of those. It just depends upon what your preference is at any given time. So for the Shoreline office, we've got a couple different subnets here that are configured. It's pretty simple for me to go and configure a new subnet into this particular location. I can do that through there. And then based on that subnet will be the emergency calling policy and the emergency call routing policy that gets assigned as well. Those policies are not there. Not seeing them right now. Oh, there they are. Hidden. So one page to define the different emergency policies. For calling policies, this is where we're dialing out to or providing a notification to on-site security, and whether or not we're conferencing them into the call, whether we're just sending them a notification. And then for call routing policies, yes. And then for call routing policies, deals with the actual type of number that you're going to dial, whether or not you're going to be using enhanced emergency services for dynamic emergency calling, and then what specific emergency numbers, both the dial string and the dial mask, and then what PSTN usage gets associated with that. So we're about 2/3 of the way complete on the development for dynamic emergency calling with Teams. So we're feeling really good about those features, but we've got a lot more that are coming up here in the near future. So just to kind of drain this really quick, more countries reporting. We're going to be starting off with the US, and we'll be continuing to add those over time. Finishing off all the work for dynamic emergency calling and get those out the door. Nikolai talked about the direct routing testing tool that he has. We're going to be integrating that in after we get the configuration work done. And then there's a whole bunch of new features actually coming out into auto attendant call queues. Being able to redirect a voicemail, being able to transfer to the phone network, extension dialing, users in call queue. I know, right? There's a whole lot here. So all of these are kind of core facilities that are going to exist in these voice apps. And then, of course, we're going to be exposing them in the right way within Teams Admin Center. And so with that, I am going to leave here my improperly formatted by the folks that do the PowerPoints here, curated list of highly relevant sessions. So basically what I do is I say like, hey, if you've come out to this session, you're probably interested in some of these as well. The one that says now, that's where you are here right now. The one that I will call out, you have an opportunity to come and hear me talk about stuff like policies and settings and teams at the session BRK 3221. But you also have the opportunity to come out and see Suni talk about the advanced reporting with the call quality dashboard. So if you're super interested in getting kind of really deep into the voice and really deep into the way that we think about quality and that we assert quality kind of broadly in the network, definitely don't hesitate to check out Suni's session at the end of the day. And with that, I am way out of time because 45 minutes goes quick. Thank you all so much for coming out. Really appreciate it.